Hey, so if I talk too much about this, it'll turn into one of the epic rambling videos that you've come to know and love on my channel. But I'm going to keep this short and sweet as sort of an addendum to my last video, or a part 2 of my last video. The kitten that I accidentally manifested, but almost certainly manifested with the many thoughts I've had about it over the last 6 months, including that I would like to find a kitten that needed to be bottle fed, because it would be great to have a kitten that I had from the time they were that young. The kitten that kitten is now 8 weeks old, and about 10 days ago she turned into a total crazy nut job, just attacking me and Matt constantly, which didn't hurt. It was just annoying, but it didn't hurt yet. And I was like, soon this is going to suck. And we really need to get another kitten. So we both agreed on that we needed to get another kitten. I was reading about single kitten syndrome, and it's a thing, and I could see it beginning to happen. But at the same time, you know, I didn't deliberately manifest this kitten. I didn't choose the timing, at least not consciously. And I was worn out, and I was just like, God, another kitten. This is just going to double my workload, even though supposedly it shouldn't. You know, I was having a really hard time getting on board with the idea of purposely getting another kitten. So I would say like last week, Wednesday, so like 10 days ago, Matt and I were like, okay, we really need to get another kitten. And the next morning, I opened Facebook. I think this was last Friday. I opened Facebook when I was in the parking lot of the gym at like 5 when I first got here in the morning. The first post on there was somebody with a kitten that had, and it said, this kitten was under the hood of my car. Thank God I found her before her, because I was like, it has to be a female kitten. I found this kitten under my hood. Does anybody want to take her? And somebody had already said, oh, I'll take her, I'll foster her. And I was like, and I didn't really want this kitten anyway. I was just like, wow, that's like an immediate out picturing me to realize it is kitten season around here. There are a lot of kittens being born everywhere in the world right now. But I was just like, wow, that was really fast. It was the first thing in my feed on Facebook, which I never look at Facebook either. So that was also weird. But so I was like, all right, okay, that doesn't mean anything. Because I've learned over the last 3 decades that just because something shows up after you think about it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. It's like an out picturing of your mind, or it's probably more likely some function of your brain. Just picking up on things that, you know, if I weren't in the market for a kitten, I might have just scrolled right past that without even reading what it was. So, you know, don't read too much meaning into these things is the moral of that story. At least for me. That's where I've landed on it. But I thought, wow, that was fast and kind of weird. But I'm not going to, you know, contact that person. So later on that morning at like maybe 11 a.m., I was looking around on Pet Finder. You know, the kitten was busy attacking me and climbing me and just in general, you know, zipping all over the place, being crazy. This kitten was needing she was up to like 4 or 5 hours a day of direct playing with the fishing pole and all the other toys. And I was just like, dude, I cannot keep up with this. So I was looking for, you know, it's back to work looking for a kitten as I was being climbed. And I found a kitten on Pet Finder that I thought was like perfect. You know, it was a really high energy kitten, nice personality, whatever they said about it. It was adorable. And I was like, you know, all right, I guess this is the kitten. This is a good one. Phone number was on there, and I'm getting this feeling right now thinking about it. I just got this feeling over my whole body of exhaustion. I was just like, man, I don't want to make this call. I don't want to drive out to where this kitten is, like maybe a half hour. It's just like, I don't want to do any of this. And so in the past, because I'm a person who's developed discipline over the years, which is very useful, but when it comes to manifestation, I think you have to be really careful about using discipline to make yourself do something that you genuinely feel like you don't want to do. That can be a really tricky thing to figure out, is, you know, is what I'm feeling something I need to power through, or is it something that I need to heed, you know? And I'm still not sure I'm making the right choice a lot of the time when I just go with something. There have definitely been things over the last year, especially, where I should have powered through it. And I just went with it saying, this isn't right. When no, it was just, I didn't want to do it and I needed to just do it. This was different and it's very subtle. You know, it was almost like a sinking, kind of like a heart feeling, just like, I don't want to do this. So I just closed out Pet Finder and I said, you know what? The situation here is fine. It's stable. I can keep playing with her. It's not a big deal. I'm going to just let the right thing happen, or I'll do this again another day. Like, obviously the timing is wrong. That's another thing, you know, sometimes when you feel that feeling of like, this isn't right about a decision that you're sort of on the precipice of making, it's just that it's not the right time to make that decision. It is the right decision, but it's not the right time. And sometimes you just, you know, it just needs to be delayed because there's some new piece of information coming or some other piece of the puzzle isn't there yet. And then once it is, you'll feel really good making that decision. It'll be a totally different feeling. And so like learning to listen to these and starting to decipher what they mean and how to work with them all, I think is it's part of the skill set, with sort of deliberately creating your life while at the same time being immersed in the illusion that things are happening to you, or that you don't, you know, there's a lot of subtleties within this that, you know, don't really get talked about all that much, because I don't think a lot of people are all that interested in this beyond the surface. Like, what can I sort of create as like a party trick? You know, what can I make happen here and there? But it's, you know, learning the sort of feeling side of all this is difficult. But so this is an illustration of that. So I just said, I'm not going to do this right now. You know, it was Friday, it was the weekend. I was like, I should take care of this weekend. I should get on the ball. I should get the ball rolling with this. But I was just like, no, I just don't feel right about this. I'm not going to do it. I'll look at this again tomorrow. I'll think about this again tomorrow or later. And, you know, when I stop feeling this sense of overwhelming, I don't want to do this. That was what I would say it was. It was just, I have no interest in doing what I'm doing right now at all. I don't want it. I don't want any part of it. At 6 p.m., my brother texted me. He knew of my situation with the kitten and everything, and that I needed to get another kitten. He texted me and he said, you're not going to believe this. I have 2 kittens in my shed. And one of them had just gotten, they didn't know they were in there. My brother and his girlfriend didn't know they were in there. And their German Shepherd, my brother's girlfriend told me, I saw him walking around with what I thought was a toy in his mouth. And then I heard the meowing. So he had the little kitten, this poor little kitten, in his mouth. He was running around the yard with one of the kittens in his mouth. So I ended up going and getting both of the kittens. And, you know, 5 hours after just this overwhelming feeling of I don't want to do this thing with this other kitten. Can you even imagine if I'd made that call? Oh my God. I ended up getting both of the kittens. They took them to my office, and a family member of mine who works for me had been, you know, just sort of like going crazy over my first kitten, the one that I found a month ago today on Mother's Day. She'd just been going nuts over her. But she was like, I really want a kitten, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Because at first I was like, well, you could have this one. And then once it was too late and that was my kitten, then, you know, she's just kind of like, oh, I really want a kitten. She takes one look at these 2 kittens and she said, you know, I was just telling my mom 3 days ago, I want a dark gray kitten with white paws. And that is the exact description of one of these kittens. And the other one was the one I really liked, which is a little light gray tiger stripe with white paws. She is just the sweetest kitten ever. And so now, since Friday, my kitten and this new kitten have been gallivanting around and kicking the crap out of each other all day and then passing out on my lap all night. There's a picture of that on my Instagram. And not much else. But so I tell you this because I think it's really important to start to observe the way you feel in your body, specifically from here to like your belly button, whenever it comes time to make any of the many, many decisions you have to make every day. And when it's in an area, you know, if it's strong, observe what that feeling is, and then observe the outcome of your decision. If you make the right assessment and then the correct following action, it will produce something that you want. It will produce an outcome that is pleasing to you. If it doesn't, then you know that you made the wrong choice. You made the wrong assessment. And this is how you learn what to do. This is how you get better at this and start making more and more of the right calls with things. Instead of like, you know, I don't know what would have happened if I called about that other kitten. Maybe it wouldn't have been available. Maybe the person wouldn't have returned my call, or maybe I would have ended up with a different kitten and the whole story would have been written differently and they never would have found the kittens in the backyard. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's not talked about how much information you are receiving at any given time physically, that you can detect physically. And it's very difficult to both be somebody who is paying attention to this and making decisions based off of these feelings, and somebody who has developed, you know, logic and uses rationality, which is also very important. Please don't get that wrong. That is, you know, you were given that ability for a reason. It's a tool in this illusion to be able to use logic and rationality. And when you can combine the two, when you're rationally and logically assessing the information that you're getting physically and learning to make the right choices from that, that's, I think, where you start to see a major leap, a major increase in success with what you're trying to manifest, trying to accomplish. This is an area where I was, you know, really good with this with money, really good. This came to me really easily with business decisions and what course do I take forward? I did next to nothing that I didn't want to do. I had a very strong gut feeling about what do I want to spend my time doing with this business, and what am I just absolutely unwilling to have be a part of my life, you know? And there were a lot of decisions there where I don't want to do this. You know, I don't want to was different from I really don't want to do this, you know? If you can learn the difference between I don't want to and this is not for me, you know, those two things are different and they often feel similar to each other. I have not been great with that in other areas of my life, for sure. So anyway, I hope that this helped somebody. A mundane example from my life of, making the rational decision that it would make sense to do this thing. You know, rationally, I know I don't really want to get another pet, but it would be the right thing and it'll end up being good. And okay, you know, I'm making this rational decision. That's sort of like an I don't wanna, but that'll be fine. That'll be the best thing for this situation. But man, when I went to actually go do it deliberately, having used my rationality to assess like a particular animal, that was just I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And so I didn't. And then they were dropped upon me, which is what I really wanted. You know, when I was making that decision to just not make that phone call, I just thought, you know what? I've got time. The situation's stable and I'm just going to wait and see what develops. Waiting to see what develops is often beneficial. Hope that helps somebody. Have a great day.